Next, we have Margreta. Thank you for talking about the logbook with us and just being part of this project. It has been very interesting to be part of the project and see this through the different versions. Could you tell us a bit more about how is it been to use the Shiftlog?
Yes, I can. So the previous Shiftlog we used in at Brage in Okea was actually not it was a logbook, but inside an hydrocarbon accounting database program. So this was obviously not made for logging shift events initially, but it has worked as storing data, but with very limited functionality of using these data. So this database is only accessible through Citrix, which has actually raised the threshold to add smaller entries. So we could often see that there were information that was missing due to the fact that you had to log in through a new system or a second system when you should enter anything into the logbook. Also, you had to do a manual entry of the same data multiple places if you should, for example, enter a sandlog event. There was also no option for trending any text data. And if you wanted to search and filter the data, the only option you had was to do an export to Excel. So all these things made us want to find a new system for the Shiftlog, as we saw that there was often a lot of information that we would like to have access to, but it was difficult to find. So that led us to the work with putting the Shiftlog into Eigen. So we had a wish list, and one of them was that it should be easier access. So Ingenuity is a good way of accessing it, that you can just use your Windows user. We wanted a search option, and we wanted the possibility of filtering. For the operators, the filtering is not that important, but for those of us looking at the system and trying to understand why the plant is behaving the way it does, it's really, really nice to be able to filter on each system number. We also wanted autofill options, so making it easier to enter, for example, whether it was a day shift or a night shift event. And we also wanted these pre-configured entries, so it should be easy to add a post to the Shiftlog. Also, there are different type of data we put into here, and some of them we would like to trend over time. So we wanted sublogs where you could pull data from different type of entries. It's not all the entries within one system number that should be pulled to a sublog, but if you could make a tag on it, then you could pull it to the sublog. So no, not all the entries in system 44 would be regarding hydrocyclones, but the ones regarding hydrocyclones we would like to have separated out. And eventually we would like to be able to store some of these full data in a way so that we could further data process and trend these data. And this is also due because to the fact that Brage is an old platform with limited instrumentation. So using the manual entries is often the only access we have to data over how we are running our plants. The experiences on using the Shiftlog so far, overall, it works very well. It's much, much easier to enter data, and it's very easily accessed. The search function makes it very easy to find previously entered data. So when we have our daily status meetings with the platform and we talk about something, it's very easy to just go in, search, and you will find what you're looking for. For example, which well did we have to close in order to do this operation last time? We can access those data much easier now. It has been in use since August, and we're still improving it with inputs from the operators as they continue to use it. And that is also something we really like, that we can come with one solution and then they come with their inputs, and we can together make a better product that works both for the operators that enter data, but also for us who should interpret the data and learn from them.
Thank you.
In the early stages of developing the Shiftlog layout, we reviewed several display options to create the most user-friendly format for frequent, organized entries. Our goal was to ensure comments were easy to read, clearly organized by day, and allowed ample space for multiple entries given the log's high usage. We reviewed three main options: one that enclosed entries by day, another one without daily separation, and a third focusing on maximizing entries per page. After discussions with our internal team and the client, we agreed that the first option was the most effective. It provides clarity without overcrowding, allowing readers to easily navigate comments without feeling overwhelmed. Now, let's take a look at the logbook and all its features. To access the logbook, go to the left side menu and select the Logbook button. This opens the Shiftlog, which is the main logbook used for tracking entries. Once that we open the Shiftlog, we can see at the top the different fields that are used as filters to narrow down the entries. We can narrow down by author, selecting a specific author to view only their entries. We can select a time period in two ways, by selecting a date to and from in these fields, or by selecting a time option from the drop-down menu. For example, 1 month, and that will show us the comments registered in the last month. You can also filter by system name and area, using the drop-down options to focus on entries that include those specific systems or areas. And lastly, you can reset the filters to start fresh at any time. To find specific comments, use the search bar in the top left. Enter a keyword and it will pull up entries that include that term in the comments section. Adding a new entry is very simple. Go to the top right corner and click on Add Entry. Then you have this pop-up window where you can start typing your comments in the first box. The current date and time are automatically filled in, but you can adjust them if needed. You can then select the system name and the shift type, which is also pre-filled according to the time you're making the entry. Then you can choose an area from the drop-down menu. Here we have two additional fields to, for example, categorize this entry as part of a week log. But another way to categorize comments is by adding tags. Tags can route entries into sublogs within the main log. To keep important entries easy to find, you can pin them, keeping them prioritized at the top. Additionally, there's a download option, letting you export selected or filtered entries as a CSV file. As mentioned before, the main log can have sublogs within it. For example, in this case, we have the sand log and the hydrocyclone log as part of the Shiftlog. When you select one, the Shiftlog automatically filters to show only entries tagged for that sublog. These sublogs will share the mandatory fields with the Shiftlog, but it will also have additional fields that are necessary for this sublog in particular. Here we can see that the hydrocyclone sublog has additional fields to specify the hydrocyclones involved in the comments. Fields such as the system names and the areas can be narrowed down in a sublog to have only the relevant options in the drop-down menu. And all the entries in this sublog will have hydrocyclone as one of their tags. Each logbook can be edited in settings. Here we can see all the logbooks we have, and we can customize them by clicking on the Edit button. The first thing we see here is the display name, which can be changed at any time. Next, we have the ID, which is a fixed name assigned to this logbook. Then we can see that this is a sublog from the Shiftlog, and lastly, we can see the tag or tags included in this sublog. Once we make the changes we want to make, we can click Save to implement them. Underneath, we have all the different fields for this sublog, and if we click on the Edit icon and we scroll down, we can customize this field. We have 4 main options for a field. Select between a set of predetermined options, a text field like the comment section we have in the Shiftlog entries, a checkbox for on and off values, and a time-based value like the shift type field in the Shiftlog, which gives you as option day or night shift. Then we see the label of the field, which is customizable at any time, and the name of the field, which is a fixed ID for this field. Next, we have some drop-down options for this select type of field, and we can add more options by typing and pressing the Enter key. We can define if multi-select is allowed or not, and also the visualization type, which can be a drop-down or radio buttons. If we tick on the Use this filter as filter, then this field will appear at the top of the sublog and could filter the entries. If not, it will just be a field to fill up as you register a new entry. On the right side of the screen, we can see a preview to visualize how the field will look like implemented. And if we are happy with our changes, we can click Save. You can also add a new logbook by going back to Settings and clicking on the Add New button. There is only 3 things to fill out for this: the display name, an identifier, and if the new logbook will be under one of the current logbooks or if it will be its own main logbook.